And it looks like there's not going to be much more to play for. We're basically all set in the playoffs after week 13. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but I just gave it a review and that's what it's looking like. So let's see how we got there. And starting with the most consequential game when it came to this, which was the Bandidos against El Granas. Coming to the game, Bandidos was 5-7 and with a pretty high point total. So a win would have made things very interesting, whereas El Granas was 6-6. And a loss would have also made things pretty interesting because El Granas' point total isn't necessarily blowing you out of the water, and it would have been another 6-7 team as well. So, unfortunately, none of that happens. El Granas gets the win. Well, for people who like excitement, El Granas gets the win to go to 7-6, easily making the playoffs, and Team de Bandidos falls to 5-8, which is good enough for the 8th seed, even though they have a high point total, and not good enough to be 6-7 and right in the mix. So, gigantic game, although we have to give credit where credit's due. El Granas, 187.18 points behind 45 points from Brock Purdy. Very, very impressive stuff. Great start, great execution. Stevenson gets injured, really isn't able to do much. And by the way, this was the game of the week, and I will acknowledge that in a second. Stevenson not able to do much because he got hurt at 3.9, and Warren also only 7 points. So, to be frank, my game of the week prediction was good in that it was the game of the week. Was bad in that I got the outcome incorrect. And how do you see Brock Purdy 45 points coming? I don't know. How do you see a team totaling 10 points between his two running backs getting 187? Well, you have to assume that Ja'Marr Chase had a crazy breakout and Browning plays like a completely different quarterback. Nacua gets 30 points. And you get a lot of help from your kicker and defense as well, who, by the way, are my kicker and defense as well in the Gay Miami combo. Yeah, I guess that's really it. El Granas deserved the win. It was a team that coming into the season I said I liked a lot. Didn't really have an amazing start, but is doing enough now to really secure a playoff spot. So kudos to you. Bandidos, on the flip side, falls to 5-8. Very, very frustrating. A team that I was also pretty high on coming into it, but unfortunately just didn't get enough firepower from some studs. Obviously, disappointments this season include T. Higgins, Algier. Kirk gets injured this week. Unfortunately, this week you had a lot of buys. Kenneth Walker ended up being because of some off weeks and the injury. So just a bad week to have all those buys. Bandidos, unfortunately, falls. And it's been great knowing you, man. It's been great knowing you. The next matchup was El Captain against Paco Libre. This was also a pretty big one because a win would give El Captain a 6-7 record. The issue being El Captain's point total was fairly low. So with a low point total, unfortunately, it means most likely that you would have needed El Granas to lose. So because the El Granas final wasn't as important, but it was against a Paco Libre team who was pretty secure in the playoffs, but falls to 7-6, now has that 6 seed, and could have been more vulnerable if other matchups panned out differently. But the final was 133-110. The highlight for the Paco Libre team going into the playoffs is that Mahomes will be playing better. I wouldn't be overly concerned about that. And you're going to get your guys you just had so many bad performances. But you do get DJ Moore back from a bye. You get Kincaid back from a bye. And hopefully you get Jonathan Taylor back in time for the playoffs. Unfortunately, you don't have a bye, so you are going to be playing the week after this upcoming one. And Jonathan Taylor still may be out, which is very frustrating. For El Captain, season's over. Not much more to talk about, unfortunately. I'll give you credit for Rashee Rice, but the luck with Devin Singletary has run out. DK gets on fire for you at the right time, but Reed, the luck has run out. And while Moss was luck because now he's a workhorse back again, he doesn't play super well. So the luck ran out there. And unfortunately, that's going to be it for El Captain. For two playoff teams, we get things becoming more interesting in the bye picture because El Professor now with this win clinches a bye to go to 9-4. 170-140 win over Untouchables. Obviously, if El Professor lost this game, both him and Untouchables would have been 8-5, and the point total would have favored Untouchables. So this was a gigantic game, and El Professor does just enough. 170 points over 140, very impressive. This was a everyone contributed kind of performance. I can't look at any of these starters and say they shouldn't be starting. El Professor's team is legit. I've said it before. I'll say it again. El Professor, because of the trades, it's looking incredible. And listen, this is my prediction to win it all, is El Granas. Just such a good team. Again, El Professor started with 0-3, and even before he made the trades, I said he will finish the season with a winning record, but needs to upgrade wide receiver or RB via trade. What did he do? Literally all of that. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy. He goes 9-1. El Professor, man, they're going to teach a college course about this guy. Holy shit. This is a campaign this man is putting together. But it doesn't count unless you finish it. And listen, he had Mixon on the bench who got 30 points. Zay Flowers on the bench with a bye. Who are you sitting from this lineup? Man, y'all are in deep trouble. Deep trouble. This is the best team I've seen across any league I'm recapping. I guess Kyler Murray is the weakness, but damn. Anyway, Untouchable is on the flip side. 140 is a pretty good week. Derrick Henry had a fantastic week. Hopefully he's healthy for you, and Tyreek continues to be incredible. You're going to get better games from Keenan. You obviously got 0 from Hollywood, which is very disappointing given his injuries, issues. But yeah, I mean, wow. I just can't stop thinking about El Professor's team. That's going to keep me up at night. Pain Train wins 150-120 over a Dunchained Son of Chaos team. Son of Chaos now securely in that 10th seed. They do have a chance to get up to the 9th seed, and I believe you guys still have a consolation for the chance to get out of the Pee-wee. I saw that 3 people are moving down. But as far as regular season goes, Sons of Chaos is over. Really bad season. Pain Train, though, at 7-6, obviously a big win. Gets them a easy playoff position. I think things to look for. Cooper Kupp starting to look healthier, although he led the team in targets, although it doesn't look like the best fantasy option there. And Achane is back. You also have a tight end 1 in Ferguson. So this team's also heating up at an appropriate time. So kudos to Pain Train on putting things together, and we'll see if Pain Train's going to be able to do any damage in the playoffs. The last game is Crucifier gets the win to go to 10-3 over the Chairman. The Chairman, again, Dunchain, looking like they'll be the 9th seed. For the Crucifier, he gets a 1 seed, and he completely deserves it. I mean, most points, best record. Again, this isn't a team that I was high on coming to the season at all. So kudos. CJ Stroud's a fantastic find. Pacheco far outperforming his value. You have the most consistent wide receiver group in the league. The issue is Tank Dell goes, and without Tank Dell, what are you going to be able to do? My answer to you is that's a costly injury. This is a very good team, but it's not at the same level as Professor. I do not think this team has the same firepower. I'm sorry. So anyway, we are set. I mean, Crucifier and El Professor are going to get the 1 and 2 seed. 3-6 is up in the air, but it's just a seeding conversation at this point. Unless El Captain wins and goes with the stupidest performance of all time, getting an insane amount of points, this thing is done. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Do I do a recap next week? Is there like a special we want? I guess next week I'll do a playoff preview and talk not as much about the scores. Wow. I've never seen a league so set with both buys and playoff spots. I have nothing to say. It's been crazy. Anyway, okay. Best of luck everyone next week, but you don't need it. Best of luck in the playoffs, and we'll be back next week with the playoff special.